The ticket smacked our windshield like a warning shot. Bright orange, folded perfectly like it carried a personal grudge. Hannah froze mid-step, keys dangling in her hand. Behind her, a woman in an HOA visor grinned like she just claimed victory in a silent war. And I didn't realize in that moment that my calm, coffee-loving wife doubled as the city's traffic judge. We'd moved into Maple Ridge Estates less than a week ago. The brochure had promised pristine streets, manicured lawns, and community harmony. Reality? It was more like a museum of rules. No trash bins in sight, grass height inspected, holiday lights gone by January 10th. Cameras everywhere. Work from home life, big mortgage, quiet street, and suddenly we were under scrutiny. Hannah was the eye of the storm. If someone bumped her cart at the grocery store, she'd apologize. But today, we were unloading the last boxes. A contractor's van had hogged our driveway for an eternity, so Hannah parked briefly in a faded guest spot. No signage, completely ordinary. I was juggling a fragile box when I heard the heels first. Fast, sharp, accusing. "Excuse me, you can't park there." The voice cut like glass. She strutted up with the confidence of general. Late 40s, tight ponytail, oversized sunglasses, clipboard clutched like a weapon. And she ignored me completely, focusing her wrath on Hannah. "Hi, this is guest parking," Hannah said politely. "We're unloading just a few minutes." The woman's lips thinned. "Guest parking is for guests. Residents use their driveway." I stepped in. Our driveway blocked. She lifted a perfectly manicured finger. "Not my problem. I'm HOA." She flipped the clipboard like it was a badge. "Violation issued." Before I could react, she slid the bright orange slip under the wiper with a practiced flourish. Hannah kept calm. "Okay, can you show us the rule? We'll move immediately." She paused her pen, then snapped, "Read your bylaws. And because you're arguing, I'm noting non-compliance." My stomach sank. "You're adding notes?" "Oh, yes. Notes matter," she purred, leaning closer. "Ignore violations and it escalates, towing legal action, even a lien." "Lien? We just sign our mortgage." My hands went cold. Hannah slid the ticket out, eyebrows rising slightly. I peeked. "HOA violation. Fine. $250. $250? I blurted. She lifted her chin. "Payment due in 48 hours. Consequences thereafter." Hannah's calm gaze didn't waver. "Your name?" "Cynthia Blakely," she said, voice theatrical. "HOA compliance chair." She sat like a crown came with a title. Hannah nodded once. "Cynthia, quick question. This isn't a city ticket, right? So your fine should match the published schedule." Cynthia's pen paused, then snapped back. "Our schedule isn't up for discussion." That wasn't intimidating. It was sloppy. Hannah didn't argue. She pulled out her phone and photographed the ticket, the empty signpost. "Cynthia" mid-sneer. Cynthia recoiled. "Delete that. It's a public area," Hannah said softly, documenting. Her cheeks flushed. New residents either learned fast or paid dearly. She jabbed her pen at me. "Move the car now." Hannah's controlled smile appeared. "Sure, we'll move." Cynthia turned, heels clicking, muttering, "I'll be watching." Once out of earshot, I exhaled. "Hannah, what was that? Do you know her?" "No," Hannah said, staring at the ticket. "But I know what she's doing." Her phone buzzed. "City Municipal Court traffic docket updated. Tomorrow 9 a.m. Hannah slipped her phone in her pocket. "Let her tow us," she murmured. I'd love to see her explain it in my courtroom. A neighbor whispered, "Careful." She told a nurse once for aesthetics. HOA backed her until receipts appeared. That evening, Hannah didn't rage. She made tea, sat amid half-unpacked boxes, and built a Maple Ridge folder. Photo of guest spot, blank poll, fine. Cynthia mid-sneer, mid-threat. I asked quietly, "Hannah, we doing something?" She sipped tea, calm as ever. "We're not doing anything. We're letting her act." And we document it. The next morning, a fresh envelope was taped to our door. Final notice, second violation, failure to pay. Less than 24 hours after first. I laughed, disbelieving. Hannah's jaw tightened. Not an accident. I ripped it open, and inside, the second notice hit, like a punch. Printed statement. Shaky-looking signature block. Balance due $250. Late fee $75. Administrative processing $50. Total $375. At the bottom, in aggressive all caps, towing authorized. My heart started hammering in my chest, ears ringing from shock. Tow for guest parking. Hannah took the paper from my hands, reading slowly, methodically. The more she read, the calmer she became, a sure sign that someone else was about to regret their day. "Okay," she said finally. "We'll do this properly." "Properly how?" I asked, tense. She opened her laptop with quiet authority. "First, I want the bylaws. Second, I want the fine schedule. Third, proof that this guest spot is actually restricted." She looked at me, eyes steady. "Can you go to the HOA office?" I groaned inwardly. Walking into an HOA office felt like striding into a lion's den holding raw steak. But I nodded and drove down to the clubhouse. The air smelled of lemon cleaner and control. A big frame poster smiled down at me. "Compliance creates harmony." Behind the desk, a receptionist typed into a headset. Before I could speak, Cynthia emerged from a side door like she'd been hiding, waiting for my arrival. "Ah," she said, eyes scanning me like a barcode. "The husband." I forced a polite smile. "We got a second notice. Says we failed to pay." "Already?" she replied too quickly. "It hasn't even been 48 hours. Her lips curled. "Clock starts at issuance. You're new. Let me simplify. Pay the fees, stop disruption, and this ends. Resist, and it escalates." I glance around. "Can I see the written guest parking policy and fine schedule?" Her smile evaporated. "Those documents are for members in good standing." Blink. "We're homeowners. We are members." "Members," she repeated, tasting the word like it was bitter, "but not in good standing." She slid a clipboard toward me with a single finger. "Sign here," it read. "Admission of violation." "Oh, no," I said, pulling back. "I'm not signing that." Cynthia's nostrils flared. "Then you refuse." "I'm requesting information." She spun toward the receptionist. "Note, this homeowner is refusing to cooperate." The receptionist typed without looking up. "Practice mechanical." Cynthia tapped the desk twice. "Here's what happens. Your wife moved the car, you pay the balance, and you stop." "She already moved it," I said. She paused, annoyed. "Good. Then pay." I left without signing anything. As I stepped outside, Cynthia called after me, sweet, loud, ensuring the whole lobby heard. "Tell your wife the neighborhood has standards." Back home, Hannah listened silently. When I finished, she opened her email and typed a precise, clinical message to the HOA board. Subject: request for bylaws, fine schedule, and parking policy. Attached: photos of the guest spot, the blank pole where no sign existed, the fine itself. She requested a written response within 24 hours. "You're emailing them like a lawyer," I said. "They're treating this as enforcement," Hannah replied calmly. 20 minutes later, another knock. Tow truck. The driver stood at the end of the driveway, scratching his beard. I got a call for a silver Corolla in guest parking." "That's yours." Hannah stepped out before I could answer. "Moved yesterday," she said evenly. "Who called it in?" he asked. "HOA compliance." Cynthia said it was unauthorized, blocking access. Hannah gestured down the street. The guest spot sat empty, like a stage after the actor left. "It's not there," the driver said, sighing. "Waste of time." Cynthia appeared on the sidewalk as if she teleported, visor glued to her head. She strode toward the truck, tight smile in place. "Why are you still here?" She snapped at the driver. He shrugged. "Car's not there." Her eyes snapped to Hannah. "Of course it's not." She moved it because she knows she was wrong. Hannah's voice stayed calm. "You called a tow on an empty spot." Cynthia's smile sharpened. "Preemptive enforcement." The driver laughed once. "Lady, that's not a thing." Cynthia shot him a look that could curdle milk. Do you want to keep working in this community? He frowned. I'm leaving. As the tow pulled away, Cynthia's full attention returned to Hannah, predator pleased. Prey finally stopped running. You don't like being told what to do, she said, dripping with mock sympathy. I've seen your type. Hannah blinked slowly. My type? People who think rules don't apply to them, Cynthia said, gesturing to the neighborhood. But here we keep order. Hannah nodded. Then you won't mind providing the written policy? Cynthia laughed, ugly confident. Email, all you want. Board trusts me. I've been here 10 years. I make this place safe. Hannah's eyes narrowed. Safe from what? From people who ruin communities, Cynthia replied. Then she raised her phone, started filming Hannah. Say your name. State your address. Document your hostility. I stepped forward. Stop filming her. Cynthia swung the camera toward me. Oh, look. Intimidation. Perfect. Hannah didn't flinch. She lifted her own phone, recording steadily, calm, composed. Cynthia faltered just slightly. Cynthia's flicker of hesitation lasted only a moment. Then she recovered and snapped. You are required to comply when an HOA officer is conducting an investigation. Hannah smiled softly. Required by what statute? Cynthia's eyes twitched. By our authority. Hannah's smile didn't waver. Authority isn't a statute. The next day, the HOA board finally responded, not with documents, but with yet another violation. Unapproved exterior modification. Doorbell camera. I stared dumbfounded. We didn't install a camera. Hannah's expression tightened. The previous owners did, she murmured. Then why? Because Cynthia wanted reasons. That's becoming painfully clear. I stepped onto the porch. The camera was gone. Only a clean rectangle of peeled adhesive remained, like a tooth ripped from a jaw. Hannah stood perfectly still, staring at the empty spot. Then she glanced down at the notice, then down the street toward Cynthia's house. Are you thinking what I'm thinking? I asked. Hannah's voice was quiet, controlled, almost frightening in its calm. Yes. That afternoon, she drove a municipal building, wearing her simple blazer, hair pinned back, face unreadable. She didn't tell me where she was going, but I knew. The calm center of every storm had just entered a world I rarely saw. At 4:17 p.m., an email pinged her inbox. Subject: immediate compliance meeting. Mandatory attendance. Location: clubhouse conference room. Time: 7 p.m. Purpose: enforcement escalation. Possible legal action. Hannah read it once, then twice, then set her phone down. They want a meeting, I said. Tonight, she nodded. Good, I said. They're threatening legal action. Hannah's eyes met mine, steady. Then we'll speak their language. She opened a drawer and pulled out a small, plain envelope, official-looking, like it belonged in a courtroom rather than our kitchen. Inside were her city ID and a neat stack of docket papers stamped with the city seal. Hannah slid them into her folder with the parking photos. Then she said the one thing that made my skin prickle. Cynthia is going to try to humiliate us in front of the board. She clicked her pen, calm as a surgeon. So, I'm going to let her. The clubhouse conference room was packed when we arrived. Too packed. Folding chairs scraped across the floor. Neighbors whispered behind cupped hands. Cynthia stood at the front like a conductor about to raise her baton. Visor perfectly aligned. Clipboard hugged to her chest. The HOA board sat behind a long table, expressions already tired, already leaning her way. Hannah squeezed my hand once. Not nervous, focused. Cynthia opened the meeting without waiting for introductions. We're here due to repeated violations, hostility toward enforcement, and refusal to comply. She gestured toward us specifically. A murmur rippled through the room. She held up the orange ticket, like a trophy. Unauthorized parking, failure to pay, interference with towing, and now she flipped the page. Unapproved exterior modification, and obstruction of investigation. Hannah raised her hand politely. Cynthia ignored it. As compliance chair, she continued, voice swelling, I have the authority to escalate. The board has been generous. But standards must be upheld. If we allow one household to ignore the rules, we invite chaos. Heads nodded. Someone whispered, "She's right." My pulse thudded. This was exactly what Cynthia wanted. An audience. Finally, one board member cleared his throat. Mrs. Hannah. Hannah spoke gently. "Thank you for letting me respond." Cynthia rolled her eyes. "Make it quick." Hannah stood. She didn't raise her voice. She didn't argue. She simply held up her phone. "I'm requesting the written bylaws governing guest parking, the fine schedule authorizing a $250 charge, and the statute allowing an HOA to issue preemptive tow orders." Cynthia laughed. "This again. We don't need statutes. We have authority." "Authority from where?" Hannah asked. "The board," Cynthia snapped. "From me?" Hannah nodded. "Then it should be easy to cite." Cynthia's smile tightened. "This is not a courtroom." Hannah paused, then reached into her folder. "That's interesting," she said calmly, "because I work in one." A few people chuckled, unsure. She pulled out her city ID, holding it steady, visible. "My name is Hannah Kirschner. I am a municipal traffic court judge for the city." The room went silent, as if the air had been sucked out. Cynthia blinked, once, twice. She laughed sharp and fake. "That's irrelevant," she said. "It's not," Hannah replied softly, "because this ticket cites violations that do not exist. The fine exceeds your published maximum. The tow order was fraudulent." She flipped a page. "Unapproved exterior modification and obstruction of investigation." A board member leaned forward. "Removed by whom?" Hannah turned her phone and played a short video. Cynthia on our porch, visor unmistakable, yanking the camera free. Gasps filled the room. A woman whispered from back, "Oh my God." Cynthia's face drained of color. "That footage was illegally obtained, recorded by a device you stole, which is a misdemeanor." Her voice cracked. "This is not a setup," Hannah said. "I didn't set you up. I parked legally. You escalated illegally." The board president rubbed his temples. "Cynthia, is this accurate?" Cynthia's composure shattered. "They're manipulating you." "She's abusing her position." Hannah nodded once. "I haven't used my position yet." She slid forward a final document, a printed docket notice. "But if this HOA continues issuing fraudulent citations, intimidating residents, and authorizing unlawful tows, I will." The board erupted. Overlapping voices, shouts, demands to see the bylaws. Neighbors sharing past fines. One citing a medical emergency tow. Cynthia backed up, eyes darting. "You can't. This is my job." Hannah's voice cut clean through the chaos. "Your job does not supersede the law." The board president stood. "Cynthia Blakely, you are relieved of enforcement duties pending investigation. Nothing else is valid. All fines issued under your authority are suspended immediately." A beat, then applause, hesitant at first, then loud. Cynthia turned to us, fury and disbelief colliding. "You planned this." Hannah shook her head. "I planned to move boxes. You planned to bully." Security escorted Cynthia out. The visor slipped as she passed, like a crown finally falling. Outside, the night felt lighter. Neighbors approached us, thanking Hannah, apologizing, sharing stories. I exhaled for the first time in days. "So, traffic judge," I said. Hannah smiled, small and tired. "I usually handle speeding tickets." I laughed shakily. "Remind me never to park wrong." She squeezed my hand. "You parked just fine." The next morning, an email arrived. All fines voided. Bylaws attached. A formal apology. Our doorbell camera. Returned in a plastic bag on the porch. Maple Ridge Estates felt different. Not perfect, but quieter, safer. Because sometimes the person writing the ticket forgets one thing. The law doesn't care about a clipboard.